guys, this is Dawn with Furtastic Friends, and today I'm coming to you with another recipe. Today we are making homemade cinnamon rolls. Yes, we are making them from scratch. So if you're ready, I'm going to show you what you need in order to make them yourself. This recipe, you're going to need 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, a 1/4 cup of sugar, 1 pack of dry active yeast, or I purchased mine in a container, so that would be the equivalent of 2 teaspoons of dry active yeast, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 cup of milk heated to 110 degrees Fahrenheit, because that's what's going to activate our yeast when we go to mix it in the mixer. 3 tablespoons of canola oil or vegetable oil, it's up to you. 1 egg, and then once we have the dough mixed, you'll need approximately an additional 1/4 cup or so of flour to bring it all together at the end. It's going to be approximate on the 1/4 cup at that point. Then the filling is going to be 2 tablespoons of room temperature butter, a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and 2 teaspoons of yummy cinnamon. And our frosting is very simple. It is 1 cup of powdered sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla, and then you start off with 1, but it can be up to 2 tablespoons of milk. You like my cute little measuring cup here? Yep, it holds up to 4 tablespoons, but there's 2 tablespoons in there right now. But yep, 2 tablespoons of milk. So there you go. Oh, and you also need either an 8 or 9-inch round cake pan. I'm using a springform pan, but it could be a cake pan or a pie pan. And then you're going to butter that with some butter. Okay? That's our ingredients. So let's get started. Okay guys, I'm back. Having a little problem with my camera setup here. It does not seem to want to stay standing up. So please forgive me. Okay, the first thing you want to do is you want to put all of your dry ingredients into your mixer. So that would be your flour, your salt, your sugar. That's 1.5 cups of the all-purpose flour, 1/4 cup of sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, and the 1 packet, or if you buy it other than in the packet, 2 teaspoons of dry activated yeast. And then what you want to do is you just want to let that mix for just a couple seconds. Okay, and now I've got my wet ingredients standing by over here. I've got my egg, my oil, and that little bit of extra flour that's going to go in at the end just to bring it together before we pull it out of the bowl. Now I need to heat my milk to 110 degrees. So let me go ahead and do that. I'll be right back. Okay guys, I went ahead and warmed up my milk, and it is at 110 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that in, and I'm going to start my mixer on low. I'm going to pour in my oil, and I'm going to Crack my egg. And I need to mix this on high for 3 minutes. And once that's done, I'll be back. Okay guys, now this is where we're going to start adding that little bit of 1/4 cup of flour, just so that this starts coming together and forming a dough away from the sides of the bowl. Okay, let me go ahead and check that, and let's get this out of the bowl. Okay guys, we've got our dough out of the bowl. Now you need to knead it, and I've got my counter all floured up because you do not want this sticking to your counter, that's for sure. So now you need to knead your dough, and this is going to take a while because you really need to work the gluten that's in this dough. And if you need to add a little more flour, just sprinkle it and keep working it. You're going to have to work it probably about 5 minutes, or the equivalent of about 150 turns, folding it over and rolling it. So I gotta start counting, guys. So I'm gonna do that for about 5 minutes and the equivalent of 150 turns, okay? So I'm going to do that, and I will be back when the dough is done kneading, because I don't think you want to sit here for 5 minutes watching me roll dough. Okay, so I will be back in about, say, 4.5 minutes. Okay, guys. Whew. That was a workout. 150 kneads of the dough, and look how beautiful that is. But now it needs to rest. So I'm going to wipe up what little left of the flour is on the counter. But I'm going to keep my scraper close at hand because I still have to roll this out. But now it needs to rest for 10 minutes. So I'm going to cover it with a glass bowl. Set the timer for 10 minutes. And then we'll come back and roll it and cut it. Then once you cut it, it has to proof for an hour and a half. So I'll be back in 10 minutes. Okay guys, the 10 minutes is up and it's time to roll our dough. And basically what we're looking for is about 9 by 11, 9 by 12. Because you're going to get about 8 rolls out of this. Now see how the every time I roll it, it springs back a little bit, like it wants to kind of fight me a little bit. That's good. That's what it's supposed to do. Now, once we get this rolled out, like I said, we're going to then spread our butter and sprinkle on the brown sugar and cinnamon. Then you can either cut it with a serrated knife, or what most people like to use is dental floss because it makes a cleaner cut. And then we're going to cut them, put them in the pan, cover it with saran wrap, and let them proof for an hour and a half. Then they're going to bake at 350 degrees for approximately 15 minutes. Okay, I think we're looking good. I want to turn this around to the short side because that's the side we're going to roll from. Okay, and all you need is just 2 tablespoons of butter, nothing more, and just spread it evenly across your dough. I'm using an offset spatula, what I normally use when I decorate cakes. Oh, and part of this is out of frame. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. So there's our butter. And then now here is our brown sugar, and the cinnamon has already been mixed in. So just dump that in the middle. And then just spread it as evenly as you can. on your dough. I mean, it just can't get any simpler than that. From edge to edge. Okay. And now, from the short edge, which I know you probably can't see from my angle, you just start rolling it. Don't roll it tightly. Just start an edge under, and then just lightly, just let it go. Just let it roll. Okay? And see, there you go. You have a beautiful dough of cinnamon rolls. Okay? I've got my buttered pan here. And I've got my dental floss. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off these little ragged ends right here, because these are just dough with nothing in them. So that's the first thing you want to do. You just want to cut off the very tips of your rolls, because you don't want to you don't want to bake anything that's got nothing in it. So okay, now what you want to do is you want to find the center and just make a little mark. And then find the center of that section and the center of that section, and then do it one more time for each of those. And there's your 8 marks. And then take a piece of dental floss, and I'm going to turn this around, slide it under your roll, line it up with your mark, crisscross your dental floss, and then pull. And there is your cinnamon roll. And then put it in your pan. Go on to the next one. Crisscross your dental floss. Twist it or overlap it and then pull. And you have another one. Okay, I'm going to continue cutting these, and then I'll show you the pan when I'm done. Okay guys, there's my rolls all cut and in the pan ready to go. Now I'm going to cover this with plastic wrap and let them proof for an hour and a half so that they can practically double in size. And then I'm going to bake them for 15 minutes at 350 degrees. I'm going to show them to you when they're proofed. Then we'll throw them in the oven, and then I'll show them to you when they're done. So I'll be back in an hour and 15 minutes. Okay guys, the rolls have proofed. Ooh, look at how puffy they are. They done filled up the pan. Now I'm going to stick them in the oven and let them bake for 15 minutes at 350. And when they're done baking, I will be back. OMG, guys! Just pulled them out of the oven. Yep. So I've got to let them cool down for about 10, 15 minutes. Then I'll make the icing and pour it on top. So yep, gotta let them cool. And then we'll be back to finish these beautiful babies up. Boy, you should smell my house. It smells yummy. I'll be back in 10 to 15 minutes. Okay guys, I've let my rolls cool for about 15 minutes. So now I'm gonna make the icing. First, I'm gonna put in my 1/4 of a teaspoon of vanilla into my 1 cup of icing sugar. Always add your vanilla first before you add in the milk, because once you start adding the milk, it's going to change the consistency of the icing sugar. Add in your 1st tablespoon of milk, and then start stirring. And then add in more milk as you're stirring to get the right consistency that you need for your icing. See? Now, if you didn't want a vanilla flavored icing, you could add almond extract or a coffee extract, any other extract that you wanted if you don't want vanilla. Okay, that's good. And see, I actually did not even add the full 2 tablespoons. That's why you always start with the 1st tablespoon and then just gradually add it at that point. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. Okay, guys. Homemade cinnamon rolls from scratch. Now, here's the deal. It is almost 10 o'clock at night. And Miss Dawn would normally be in bed by now. But because making pastries and bread and stuff from scratch takes such a long time, that's the only reason why I'm still up. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this with foil, and in the morning, I will cut one of these up, and I will show you one of my homemade cinnamon rolls at breakfast time. All right? I will see you then. Thanks, guys.